At the recent 90 Mind meeting of the minds, I spoke about the impact of artificial intelligence on ERP for the small to mid-sized business market. 90 Minds is a consortium of these business management system consultants and their respective firms that focus on companies that are typically between $5 and $250 million in revenue across a wide array of industries. Similar to cloud, e-commerce, and other recent technological advances, consumers have typically been the first to benefit from the new technology, whether they knew it or not. Now, with AI and unstructured data and artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT available to the masses, um, we're getting the benefits of artificial intelligence already, even though it's not quite trusted enough yet for widespread business adoption. Over the next 45 minutes or so, we'll cover some of these basic artificial intelligence concepts before diving into how AI will impact these ERP business management systems today and how it will soon impact those of us who are staying in the industry as consultants over the next few years. I truly believe that business management software will be dramatically impacted over the next 3 to 5 years. Today, the cost of AI is much higher than the cost of human work for many tasks which could be automated. By some estimates, running ChatGPT is costing Microsoft and OpenAI hundreds of thousands of dollars per day. As the technology is adopted and economies of scale occur, a wider and wider array of repetitive tasks will be outsourced to the computer. This will happen, and it's us to figure out how this will affect our consulting practices and the businesses of our customers. Digital transformation is the buzzword for process improvement, and today artificial intelligence is being associated with all sorts of technology, whether it's AI or not. So let's take a few moments to get a common baseline of terms and definitions. The Oxford Dictionary defines AI as the theory and development of computer systems able to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and translation between languages. Artificial intelligence is the ability for a computer program or a machine to think and learn. It's a field of study which really tries to make computers smart. What we have in systems today is known as robotic process automation, or RPA. This is where we program computers to do tasks based upon specific instructions. We use RPA with branching if-then conditions. So like if this condition exists, then do this type of logic to handle complexity in our processes. Integrations between e-commerce websites and business software that can pull company-specific pricing, apply discounts, and suggest alternate products based upon stock availability and much more. RPA is also used to create business workflows. So when a task is completed, someone is notified. We recently completed a job where field service technicians diagnose a problem within a complex machinery and enter a service ticket. The computer then checks the warranty status, service levels, contracted for, and it returns the cost of the repair for acceptance by the customer based upon current usage levels. RPA allows repeatable and programmable tasks to be automated, but it is not intelligence because everything is programmed in advance. Artificial narrow intelligence, or narrow AI or weak AI, is the most common form of artificial intelligence we encounter today. Singular tasks such as facial recognition, language translation, or playing chess are learned by the machine with proficiency often surpassing human capability. However, it lacks consciousness, genuine understanding, and the ability to apply knowledge to different contexts beyond specific programming. Many software publishers call robotic process automation, or RPA, artificial intelligence, by using these definitions without incorporating the key aspect of AI, which is machine learning, when the computer learns and it improves its algorithms based upon repeating the tasks and getting feedback on the results. For example, the IBM Watson computer was not programmed with all the potential moves or all of the potential positions on the chessboard. It learned them through repetition on its own. Artificial general intelligence, also known as strong AI or generative AI, is still a hypothetical form of artificial intelligence in which a machine can learn and think like a human. For this to be possible, AGI would need some additional awareness so it could solve problems, adapt to its surrounding, and perform a broader array of tasks. Many of the rules that AGI needs are being developed by swarms of people working in the background to teach the machines. For example, we think about driverless cars. There are armies of gig workers all over the world looking at pictures and circling them and feeding that information into computers so that it can recognize what a human looks like, or in this context, where there are humans. If driving was all done by machines according to programs, it would be very easy to have driverless cars. But humans do not always act consistently. So we need to teach the computer when and where there are humans so it knows, something can react a little bit different here. So some of the makers of artificial intelligence today are claiming that things like ChatGPT are already a form of AGI. But this is really subject to debate, and I think as we go through the presentation, you'll understand why. The final frontier or ultimate goal of AI is artificial superintelligence. Machines with a superintelligence that will become self-aware and can think of abstractions and interpretations that humans cannot. Since most people think that we're not even at AGI, ASI is still a far-off hypothetical form of artificial intelligence. A superintelligence will not only be able to think, but it would have feelings and emotions and desires and beliefs and subjective experiences just like humans. ASI would theoretically be the last invention of humans because these super intelligent machines should be able to anticipate our needs and solve the problems faster than any one of us or group of humans could ever do. So if you saw 2001: A Space Odyssey and you know HAL from that movie, you can understand why there are people like Eliezer Yudkowsky, who predicts that there will be an intelligent supercomputer that will be smarter than us and does not hold our values and morals. He also believes that with unlimited time and unlimited retries, we could figure out how ASI, or how this really intelligent supercomputer, would not hurt us. But he suspects that the ASI will kill us before we ever can. There are many different definitions of AI and its components, and the more I study it, the more I realize how complex and interrelated the terms are. So for simplicity's sake, I kind of think about it in terms of three components, which also have these interrelated components that make it really confusing to us mere mortals. We could separate out the computers and this ginormous amount of data into separate components, but I think of this part as kind of like your brain and your life experiences. From birth to now, you have tons of memory stored in your brain, and I just couldn't figure out how to separate the two. So then we have our intellect and our inherent problem-solving skills, which are represented by machine learning. And finally, we have tools like coping mechanisms, list making, calculators, and even computers we use to process the data within our brain. So, ginormous data is not probably an official term, but think about a gigabyte of data as being about 178 million words. And ChatGPT is 1.76 terabytes of data. And all these artificial intelligence programs are running off of large language models, which are created by running parameters, computers are yes, no kind of questions, with code to run these parameters against data. So if size is based upon the number of parameters and a medium-sized model like Llama 2 has 70 billion parameters, you can see how big and ginormous these models are. And then the code is run against a set of data, like the internet, to come up with these large language models, these huge amounts. This takes huge amounts of compute power over a relatively long period of time to create the neural network used in AI, basically how it thinks, the brain. There are many large language models, and they're not all created the same. On the right side of this screen here is a ranking tool used for confidence in how likely it is for the large language model to generate the correct associations of words and parameters. And there's a lot of discussion about this. This list changes all the time. And whether these companies have the rights to use the data is just one of those areas which is completely undefined these days. You know, you've got GPT-4, which is OpenAI. You've got Ernie, which is owned by Baidu, a Chinese technology company, which might not have the same constraints. You've got Gemini, which is owned by Google DeepMind, and some consider one of the most powerful. Olympus is Amazon's, and it goes on and on and on. So machine learning is a subfield within artificial intelligence that's intended to mimic intelligent human behavior to perform complex tasks like human problem solving. Data is the foundation of machine learning. You know, it includes photos, numbers, text, and then it's stored to provide, you know, that data for these different models, which include, you know, all sorts of algorithms and programming methods. You know, you feed the data in, and that could be with what are called labeled, supervised data sets, where we've kind of tagged them in advance, unsupervised, where the machine is searching for pattern, and then the third type of machine learning is reinforcement. So we feed the data in, the programmer has made, you know, machine learning algorithms to try to make these predictions, and then the AI kind of comes up with results. Then in a reinforced model, we kind of tell it, oh, you were right, or you were wrong, or the programmer tweaks the model. So then it runs the same data to it, and then we tell it, oh, you were good, you were not good. And the goal is to iterate through these different types of learnings to be able to make connections between the prompts that we ask the artificial intelligence and the data that it uses to create more accurate answers. So the variety, breadth, and depth of tools is just like almost dizzying in its complexity. So I think about tool sets that combine these large language models and machine learning methods to create applications for a purpose. These AI models are used to target machine learning for specific tasks. Um, and just like large language models and AI created in stages, right, where you have pre-training, which creates the large language model to predict the next word or combination of words. And then there's that fine-tuning that we talked about with the machine learning, and then the reinforcement, which comes from human feedback. And then we have all these tool sets, the applications, which use prompts to kind of accomplish different tasks like coding or copywriting, right? And sometimes these models are even created by the AI initially and then enhanced by humans to provide different types of machine learning in a repetitive manner to basically get better at making predictions or writing code or writing blogs or even coming up with a talk track for this video. And as the coding gets better and the application of AI is refined, more and more complex predictions and answers, will permeate into business applications. Here on the right side of the screen, you can see this AI search tool, which at the time of this video had 13,088 different toolkits that you could use for a variety of different applications in your business today. So people are spending, or companies, large companies are spending gobs and gobs of money to create these large language models with lots of parameter sets, and using other programs which access that data to make predictions of what the answer is to the question based upon the prompts that you give it. Right? Prompts are the question, like if I'm talking to the computer, hey Siri, tell me where I can find such and such a movie close to me, right?
Here are some movies playing at theaters near you.
See? Then tools are used to analyze the answers for correctness and are run over and over again, much faster than humans can by banks of computers. And then today we refine those results by feeding those computers more data to help them discern whether what the correct answer or best answers are. And as AI gets smarter and smarter, it's beginning to enter our ERP and business management software. So with over 13,000 tools on that one site, the question is, why do we not see more AI in our business lives today? And really, the number one reason, according to this McKinsey study, is fear, right? You can think of AI as imitating human actions. So if someone were to ask you a question and you didn't know the answer, you might do a Google search. AIs do Google search too. And when we first started using Google, we didn't trust it, right? But now over time, we've learned, that, okay, the internet doesn't have 100% accurate answers, but we still trust our search. Now, adopting AI is about more than just the improvement of these large language models to predict better. There are other fears that we have to overcome too, and data security are really the next two largest risks on the chart, cybersecurity and intellectual property protection. Today, hackers have been jailbreaking or getting around the protections built into AI through creative programming. So they can make it give you the wrong answers or make it give you answers that we don't want it to give you. If you ask AI how to kill somebody or build a nuclear bomb, it's not supposed to answer that question. However, there have been numerous examples shown of how you can change your prompt to be more like a story or include some code within the prompt, or other methods to hack the AI into doing things they are programmed not to do. From a business perspective, you would not want the AI to teach your competitors how to beat you based upon your data. And part of the issue is that correlation and causation are not the same thing. This is from a site called Spurious Correlations, tylervirgin.com. And as we go through these different graphs, which look, statistically accurate, it doesn't mean that the more Nicolas Cage films that are put out in a year, the more people are going to drown themselves in pools. That's just not likely the reason why people are drowning in tools. So, although this last slide is a little bit dated, as of December 2022, the theoretical biggest and best AIs were flat out wrong 20% of the time across all categories of questions asked. These are called hallucinations, a byproduct of the training of the AI in the way neural networks work. The AI is predicting what answers should be by iteratively going through parameters in the large language model. And if the source of data includes misinformation, the AI can be expected to be wrong. We have a choice of if and how we will use AI. And whether or not you choose to use it, just know that it's likely that some of your competitors will. AI or AI-like technology is being used across a variety of industries in a plethora of ways. What is not on this list from CIO is the use of AI in writing, which I believe is common across all industries and underreported as people want credit for their own work. Writing includes business documents, correspondence, emails, as well as code snippets. How many of you have used AI to start off a coding or a scripting project, or used it in any form of blog writing or emails, or used robotic process automation tools for automating business processes or creating workflows? So the real question is not, have you developed anything AI related? It's more about how you're incorporating AI into your lives, whether you know it or not. Today, it's mostly large enterprises and large and funded entities that have the bandwidth and resources to develop AI-specific applications or tools on their own today. However, tools like chatbot creators that use your own data sets are already on the market now. And the adoption of AI technology will likely be proliferating in the next 12 to 24 months. At a recent Information Technology Alliance conference, there was a panel discussion with representatives from Sage, Acumatica, Workday, and NetSuite. They were all talking about artificial intelligence in their products, and all of them talked about needing trust in the AI model, data protection and privacy, and a clear governance over who can use what data when. We already talked about trust in the AI tools themselves and hallucinations, but really, whose data is it anyway? One publisher talked about their customers having to opt in, or another one talked about their customers having to opt out of whether their AI agents could look and use your data. In any circumstances, they talked about the importance of providing clarity on how the data would be used and what you're allowed to do with the AI tools that they're putting into their product for you to develop routines with. Process automation tools have been around for a long time, and they're becoming easier to use. Tools like Microsoft Power Automate and third-party no-code, low-code tools can make a non-programmer such as myself into a digital transformation specialist. Bringing in e-commerce web orders, synchronizing the ERP with the e-commerce sites for inventory, stock status, and various different things. Automating packaging based upon advanced units of measures, approval procedures, triggered notifications. These are just a few examples here on the slide, but it's everywhere in ERP today. So artificial narrow intelligence is different than the process automation tools due to the machine learning component. Publishers are building engines into their products directly, or they're partnering with others to create these artificial intelligence platforms for their enterprise resource planning systems. Microsoft is a major investor in OpenAI, the makers of ChatGPT, and is incorporating that into their Azure AI platform database infrastructure and using Microsoft Copilot for prompting, so that you can build on top of a plethora of tools that are shown there on the left-hand side bottom of the screen. Um, and then they use the Microsoft Azure Active Directory to provide governance over who can see what data and perform which tasks. Similar to Microsoft, on the right side of the screen, SAP has built in the user context permissions and security into their Joule Copilot. And they've invested over $1 billion into €1 billion into Aleph Alpha and Anthropic C, Cohere, and other large language models rather than investing in building their own. They're partnering with AWS, Google, and Microsoft for infrastructure. They're also partnering with AI engines like IBM Watson, Bard, and OpenAI. And really what SAP is focusing on is the middleware that consumes these tools, and they call that SAP's Business Transformation Platform, or BTP. And BTP is basically a piece of middleware that will work with all of the SAP business management software. One of the tools that MyWave AI is a chatbot with that works with all of the SAP products and is going to be using Microsoft Teams as one of its input sources and output platforms. So early adopters are building custom applications, and a few brave partners are building their own apps. Like one Business One partner is built some narrow artificial intelligence application into their Internet of Things devices for shipment locations and automating distribution capabilities, so that if you've got something that's, let's say, worth a lot of money or requires certain refrigeration, the IoT thing can notify you in different ways and forms to make sure that your products are safe. And it's learning over time and with reinforcement from humans. And in my opinion, and what I believe is available right now, is the chatbot, using your voice as the input tool for ERP. Imagine asking any ERP system, even some of the legacy ERP systems, using these chatbots, as long as they have an open API, to perform any function. Copilot, please run a comparative income statement for the current month versus the same month last year. And boom, inside of Teams or inside of whatever the application is, you get that report brought to your screen. Very few programmers who have used AI to help them with coding say, please take this tool away from me. I do not want something that will make my life easier by writing some code based upon me giving it the correct prompts to have it do some basic programming that I want. If AI can take away much of the mundane aspects of programming, so creativity can become more important than knowing syntax and when to put in that semicolon, don't you think it could also be used to take away some of your mundane tasks so that you can be doing more creative activities? Most companies started out with process automation as a way of reducing costs. But as they use AI more and more, they're shifting their mindset to creating new business opportunities or sources of revenue. And this is happening across a variety of industries, including finance and accounting and consulting, which are near and dear to my heart. So at a recent CPA Today conference on AI, one of the panelists suggested that today's shortage of CPAs is not really a big issue, especially in the area of tax, which is rule-based, because retiring tax professionals could be replaced by AI as they retire. In consulting, Boston Consulting Group used AI and had a couple of different groups, one that used and one that didn't, as kind of like a test. And the ones that used AI completed about 12% more tasks, 25% faster. They also produced 40% higher quality results compared to those not using AI. Unfortunately, they still had a 19% higher error rate because of some of the AI hallucinations. So we still have to take this with a grain of salt, but it is coming. It's coming fast, and it's likely coming to your industry. So as I look at software implementation, I think about how we've adopted the use of low code and no code tools for process automations and integrations. Now imagine that the AI can write some or all of those low code enhancements that really made those integrations or process automations, beautiful for your customers. And that's going to be implemented, as part of your normal systems implementation process. And what if the AI can learn from the prompts that you ask in terms of, let's say, data conversion, one of the most difficult and variable in cost kind of tasks that we have. So if you can specialize in a particular industry, or from taking people from, let's say, QuickBooks to some Sage software, then you can ask this AI over and over again to do it for that industry, for this software conversion, and it can learn. And the more consistent you are in your conversion processes, like let's say having a consistent chart of accounts for that new industry, the more accurate and precise the conversion will become, and the lower the cost will be. So this is going to be something that we can use all of the tools that are provided by these large language models to come up with creative ways to increase the speed and lower the cost of our implementations. AI is already being used in lots of areas of business intelligence. Think about some of the robotic process automation tools in, let's say, material requirements planning, about how NetStock or Vlogix or many of these tools that are advanced MRPs use all this regression analysis to fit trends into a pattern to kind of predict what the future requirements will be for stocking products. But now imagine that the AI can benchmark your company or your client against similar companies of its size and its industry. Now it could become even more accurate. And imagine that the AI can see mistakes within the software. At a conference last year, I heard some Sage Intact people talking about how if you're receiving goods on a Sunday in a warehouse that is supposed to be closed, non-operating hours, it can say, "Hey, look, wait, is this right? Are you sure you want to do this?" Um, so in no time, we should expect the chatbots to be able to not only write queries that give you financial reports, but give you real analytics and business intelligence. Hey, what do you think my cash flow is going to be over the next 6 months, given these economic conditions and this change in whatever? So AI is already involved in our support in a variety of ways. On the bottom right, you can see a picture of Dynamics 365 where somebody put a prompt into Copilot asking what the depreciation methods are. I know a Business One partner who basically used the chatbot tool so that anybody could ask any question of SAP Business One help. 20 years ago, we would have never thought that a majority of break fix support would be transitioned to the publisher. But with everything being in the cloud, now the publisher does the majority of the break fix. And so now imagine that the AI can see error messages as they happen across all customers in their cloud. And then they can see how they're being fixed, and then dynamically do self-diagnostics and automate the fixes for the customers. So how much of AI is truly AI and how much is just automation is unclear. But the percentage of AI is growing, and it will be pervasive in the not too distant future. This screenshot of Workato, it talks about over 1,000 pre-built integrations with various degrees of functionality into a variety of software, including NetSuite, Financial Force, SAP Business One, and even entry-level systems like Xero. So, can you imagine taking, let's say, marketing and sales and customer support um, from some of these tools and integrating them into Sage CRM? Or what if you took the financial workflows that Workato has and integrate them into one of the open source tools like Xtuple or Odoo? These are opportunities for business management consultants today to take advantage of the variety of tools and come up with new and unique offerings. Will robots replace us? I hope you, as I, and most of the experts agree, this isn't going to happen, right? The more the machine can learn, the better it will become. Computers still use zeros and ones, ons and off, and they can become better at humans at games like Go and chess because they're closed systems with a fixed number of rules and permutations. They can learn all those rules and permutations and determine whether it won or lost, on or off, and repeat it incessantly until they have predictions of the next move perfected by knowing all of those permutations. Fortunately, we are humans, and we are not closed systems with a fixed number of permutations. Ilya Sutskever, the CTO of OpenAI, describes AI as digital brains within large computers. There are rooms full of people saying, holy cow, look at what this thing can do. And there are tremendous investments and extremely fast development at Google, Meta, OpenAI, Tesla, all these huge companies, AWS. And today, there is little to no regulation and lots of creative and crazy people in the world. In today's market, most companies are very early or have not started their AI journey. And they're trying to figure out what the heck are we going to do with this thing? Companies that have already engaged in the process of adopting AI are becoming much more tactical in their approach and deploying new models and tools. The shift goes from how can I use it to what will I do with it next? And as shown by the chart on the left, the jobs that come from or with AI are different than typical roles that we have in organizations today. Prompt writers, data engineers, and the list goes on. Will robots replace us? McKinsey respondents in large enterprises expected workforces would remain the same or within 2%, 30% of the time, and actually decrease 43% of the time. So it will change our work. And um, it doesn't really scare me because I think this continues to be a trend. It's continuing a trend for both younger workers and experienced professionals such as myself towards independence and gig work, things that we can do that are creative, that take advantage of technology or our human experiences. Shane Legg, the founder of DeepMind Technologies, which was bought by Google, predicted that AGI, that general intelligence, would become real between 2025 and 2028 in 2011. So it's actually happening, and it's happening now. So if you're just getting into AI, you're not too late. There's going to be a lot of hype and there are going to be more tools coming out. And I think it's time for us to think about how AI can and will impact our lives and our businesses. Think about this, right? If AI is going to get rid of some of the mundane tasks, and we're going to need to have people who are creative, asking the right questions of the AI to achieve the results that we need, how is the next generation going to know what prompts to ask if they've never done the base work? Right? You don't start doing calculus with a calculator. You start doing it by long derivation so that you could understand the concept underneath it. And these are things that we're going to have to grapple with as we adopt AI in our business. Um, we got to find out ways that we can trust the results, and we have to find ways that we can incorporate our unique business requirements into these general AI tools so that they can give us the answers we need to be successful in our business. Thank you for spending the time to listen to my rambling thoughts today. I hope that you found something in the presentation useful for you and your business, or at least interesting and thought provoking, so you can figure out how you can use these process automation and artificial intelligence tools to make your professional, personal, business life more efficient, effective, and productive, profitable, whatever you're looking to get out of it. Please drop me a line, give me some comments, let me know your thoughts, so the next time I make one of these, I'll do even better. I could use the reinforcement too, just like an artificial intelligence. Have a great day.